we honor Poco Tivio.
1947 saw the arrival of the Polaroid land camera, the Volkswagen Beetle, and Poco Tivio. Bred by E. Paul Wagner's 3D stock farm, Poco Tivio was one of just 2 foals sired that year by Hall of Fame stallion Poco Bueno. He was the first foal out of the then 4-year-old mare Sheelwin, who would also produce legendary cutting mare Poco Lena. He began training and cutting as a 3-year-old under Pine Johnson. Hall of Famer Don Dodge would eventually acquire the stallion for $15,000, reportedly the highest price ever paid for a cutting horse. Poco Bueno horses were already gaining in popularity, but California had yet to call a Poco Bueno its own. That changed with Poco Tivio. Tivio and Dodge started winning immediately. In 1951 and 52, they placed 5th in the National Cutting Horse Association year-end top 10. In 1952, Don showed Tivio to his AQHA champion title, consistently winning in both cutting and halter. Soon, Don retired Tivio and stood him to outside mares for $300. But it wasn't long before the trainer had Poco Lena, Tivio's full sister, in his barn. So Don sold Tivio to California horseman Charlie Araujo. As a stallion, Poco Tivio was known for passing on his low-key temperament and flashy working style. He sired 308 registered foals in 25 crops. Of those, 81 were AQHA point earners, 10 AQHA champions, 26 Register of Merit earners, and 6 Superior Award winners that won 10 Superior Performance Awards in 5 events. Poco Tivio's daughters have produced the winners of more than $2.2 million in AQHA, NCHA, National Reining Horse Association, and National Reined Cow Horse Association competition. The foals of those mares earned 6,641 AQHA points in halter and performance, 10 Open and Youth World Championships, and 2 Open Reserve World Championships. Teresa Tivio produced Doc's Haida by Doc Barr. Doc's Haida was an AQHA champion and a 3-time AQHA World Champion. Doc Barr, crossed on Poco Tivio daughters, produced 40 performers who earned $735,000 in the arena. This cross produced Doc's Remedy, Doc's Oak, Doc's Starlight, and Fizzabar. Pedigree analyst Larry Thornton simply states, "The bottom line is that we wouldn't have the Doc Barr horse of today if it hadn't been for his ability to cross with Poco Tivio mares." The horse was buried at the Boss Ranch in Fresno, California, 29 years after his foaling in 1947. The year Jackie Robinson was signed by the Brooklyn Dodgers. The year an alien spacecraft was supposedly discovered in Roswell, New Mexico. And the year Poco Tivio hit the ground running.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Randy Majors, accepting for Poco Tivio. There you go, sir.
You want me to do some talking?
You do some talking. Yes, sir.
I want Ward to come talk because he did a good job. This reminds me of when I got up to do a speech in speech class in college, and I got up there and just stood. It was going to be on a bareback rig, and I couldn't even remember what I was doing. But I want to thank the committee, the Hall of Fame committee, for recognizing Poco Tivio. And Daddy didn't have Poco Tivio very long. He bought him in 1950 at the second annual Wagner sale. And when the horses were bringing $675, they averaged that at that sale. He gave $5,000, which was a lot of money then. And of course, I wasn't but 5 years old when this all transpired, so I can't really recall Poco Tivio. I can't recall what I did yesterday, much less that. But anyway, I've always been around good horses though, and he sold him to Dodge and Barbara Worth for $15,000, which that was a lot of money then. But Daddy he knew good horses, but he would sell them. I remember one time, kind of getting away from the Tivio deal, but I had a colt that a yearling. It was by Steel Bars, and this was like it was the late 50s. I was probably 13 or 14, getting ready to go show it at Halter, and he come down to the barn and said, "I'm sorry, son. I sold that horse to Mr. Klein Peter in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and he got $7,500 for him," which that was a lot of money it's about 60. But anyway, Dad, like I said, he'd sell horses. But I really thank the Hall for putting Tivio in there. I think he deserves it. And like Larry Thornton said, without Poco Tivio mares, there wouldn't be any Dock Bar. And it just wouldn't be. I can tell you a quick story about Daddy real quick. He had a horse called Hollywood Joe. This was 1955. And he was a gelding, 10-year-old gelding. And Edgar Brown Jr., who lived down here in Houston, followed Daddy from Fort Worth, San Antonio to Houston. And he kept wanting to buy the horse. And Daddy finally told him, he said, "I'll tell you what, I'll take $10,000 for him." And this is 1955, that's a lot of money. And Mr. Brown said, "I'll give you $9,999 and $1 out of my pocket because my daddy said I couldn't spend $10,000. And it really went down that way. I got a copy of the check. But I wish he probably would have kept Tivio. Maybe I'd have a lot of money now. But anyway, I appreciate it, and a heartfelt thanks to Crystal for what all you've done in the Hall. And I just want to thank all y'all, and that's all I got to say. Ward did a better job.